An ex-wife got suspicious of her ex-husband after noticing an odd new behavior in her kid and phoned the police, but she quickly recognized that in order to unravel the riddle, she needed another form of authority. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Daisy raised young Jaden with love and compassion. Her young kid was growing up so quickly that mom was having trouble believing he was old enough to be walking by himself. Only a few days prior, in fact, he had begun to walk and discover the fascinating and novel world around him. He kept grasping new items to discover what they were all about. So she had her hands busy trying to keep him safe. Daisy was happy to watch her kid growing up in what might be considered a typical manner, because he was really interested about everything. However, the young mother quickly found one of his most recent tendencies to be unsettling. She gave a little grin but didn't give it much attention when Jaden stood motionless in front of her and removed his diaper to see down his trousers. He would not repeat this action if she chose to disregard it, but then this odd occurrence began to occur every day. Daisy naturally checked to see if there was anything irritating her in her trousers or diaper first. Jaden could have had genuine ants in his trousers because he was outside a lot. Upon seeing nothing unusual in his diaper, she was deeply perplexed by his behavior. Daisy tried to ignore his strange tendency for a week, but after that she started to get worried. After a week of seeing this habit, young Jaden would stand in the living room and gaze down his trousers for around 30 minutes, which at first made it amusing. His mother was unable to provide him with answers since he was still too young to express his emotions to her. Daisy saw that every day at precisely 12:13, Jaden would act strangely. It appeared as though a time clock was in charge of this conduct. Daisy made the decision to speak with her close friend Lizzie in the hopes that she might provide some clarification. Daisy has a long-standing friendship with Lizzie. She had been there for Daisy and Jaden's father during their difficult divorce. Daisy was distrustful of everything her ex-husband was involved in and had very little faith in him. Daisy showed Lizzie what was going on and informed her about Jaden's odd conduct, which made Lizzie advise her buddy to exercise extreme caution. Though she wasn't aware of the true circumstances at the time, she suspected Daisy's ex-husband, Mark, of being involved in illicit activities. Daisy's relationship with her former partner was quite tense. Jaden was divided between them for custody. He saw both of his parents every other week. Mark has always had a jealous strain in his demeanor. Even though he and Daisy were no longer together, he continued to be possessive and attempt to control her life. Daisy suddenly recalled a bad experience from a few weeks ago. She had discovered a note from Mark when she had opened her mailbox one day. He had written her some really rude and hateful things. If he'd just spoken to her, Daisy would have utterly disregarded it. But Mark had also mentioned Dave, her new lover, and vowed to do everything within his power to ruin their life together. Mark was alone and lonely and did not want his ex-wife to go on to happiness so soon, in contrast to Daisy, who had found love again and was starting over. Daisy thought of something unusual while the two pals conversed. She was more and more certain that Jaden's odd conduct had to do with his father. Mark may have been attempting to spy on Daisy out of jealousy. What if he had attempted to obtain information on Jaden's mother's actions by smuggling an electronic device inside his clothes? He may be attempting to record her discussions in secret. Daisy's envious ex-husband would not have tolerated such conduct. Daisy, S world, began to make sense. Every day at 12:13, the chip must have caused some kind of vibration in her son's pants. Daisy began spending time with Jaden at this point after returning from her morning shift. The weird conduct had never been mentioned to Daisy by the babysitter, who departed at lunchtime. Daisy looked through Jaden's jeans carefully, but she was unable to discover anything. Just past 12, she had finally come to terms with her young boy's daily ritual of gazing down his trousers. She even looked through her son's shoes, though she doubted she would find anything, in an attempt to unravel the riddle. Still certain that Mark was capturing her discussions, Daisy developed a new tactic. Just after 12:13, she made the decision to contact the police so that Mark may overhear the talk and understand that she was aware of his malicious scheme. She would be happy if she could frighten him into quitting his absurd actions. The responding cops were quite serious about concerns involving minors. Without delay, they proceeded to Mark's residence and brought him to the police station for interrogation. Mark asserted his right to remain silent in the absence of a counsel, since he had no idea why he was being questioned. He had a sneaking suspicion that it had something to do with the menacing letter he had sent to Daisy many weeks prior. Daisy provided consent for another team of police officers to inspect Jaden using a sophisticated electronic detector. As the cops searched for the concealed chip using a scanner, the incident turned into a humorous game for the 1-year-old. Daisy and the policeman were taken aback when they discovered nothing. When Mark learned that Daisy had called the police to his house and that he was being accused of spying on her, he was first furious, but he finally agreed to assist. Daisy informed him about Jaden's peculiar actions and expressed her worries. When Jaden had stayed with him, Mark had also observed this practice, but he had assumed it was something kids did until a certain age. The two parents made the decision to consult a doctor about the situation. The physician they saw had never heard of anything similar. He explained to the parents that this was not typical conduct. Even more confusing was the fact that it was timed precisely at 12:13 every day. Following a few standard tests, Jaden's health was determined to be great. The doctor invited the parents to return the next day at 12 since he wanted to observe this behavior for himself. The oddest thing occurred. Jaden did not gaze down his trousers at 12:13. The parents were now even more perplexed, but the physician knew something. He requested to go home and see Daisy and Jaden. At precisely 12:13 the next day, Jaden once more began gazing down his trousers. As the pediatrician started to come to a certain conclusion, he requested to see Mark at home in order to validate his concerns. By repeating the procedure, the doctor was able to confirm Jaden's diagnosis when he glanced down his trousers the next day. The doctor advised the parents to try again since they claimed that the third time is lucky. The next day at 12 o'clock, both parents were to bring Jaden back to the doctor's office with them. There were so many unresolved questions for the parents. Daisy and Mark were not at all comforted by the pediatrician's somewhat humorous reaction to the finding. That evening, they tossed and turned in their separate beds, hoping that dawn would arrive and put an end to their anxieties. At precisely 12:13 the next day, the physician took an unusual and unexpected action. Switching on the radio, he selected the same station Daisy and Mark always listened to. And sure enough, Jaden was gazing down his trousers once more. This was just an ingrained habit set off by the music on the radio, which at that particular hour was always playing a unique jingle. The looking down his trousers continued for 30 minutes along with the music. The little child was copying an act he had most likely seen on TV. That strange deed turned into a taught behavior. He must have been rewarded arbitrarily by one of his parents and unintentionally connected the reward to the music. Thankfully, it was simple to unlearn. The solution to this large puzzle was a breath of relief. While Jaden kept traveling and learning from the globe, his parents took advantage of the chance to patch up their fractured bond and transition into effective co-parenting. What an unexpected turn of events! Did you ever anticipate receiving a response like this? Have you ever directly witnessed any peculiar taught behaviors? Leave a comment below to let us know. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you later. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.